The video right now that we would like to share with you guys, specifically to pay-per-click, is actually about the misconceptions that some people have about pay-per-click and almost components that really they don't quite understand. And so there are really 3 to 4 core questions that we get a lot, especially in the sales cycle of trying to work with somebody to hire us for pay-per-click management, and those particular misconceptions we really would like to address here today. So the first one is that a lot of times people think that competitors are able to click on their ads, and that because of that they're going to burn up their entire budget and they're just going to be gone. So how is that a misconception?
Yeah, so I would say in 95% of industries, this really doesn't happen, especially as much as people think it does. It's kind of a paranoia that's surrounding this type of product, but
it's almost being perpetuated maybe a little bit?
Yeah, it doesn't happen as much as you think it does. Google will pick up on this if they see someone with an IP address is clicking on your ads every day. They'll pick up on the fraud and they'll actually refund you the money for it. I see this not that frequently, but it does happen. There are specific industries where this happens more than others. Normally, this is in cases where the click cost is also very high. So people are bidding really high, trying to outbid their competition to get to the top because it's a high ticket item or service that they're offering, and they seem to be a little shady. So those people, there are tools that can be used to try to prevent this, but I would say in the majority of the types of businesses that I've worked on, this is not really an issue.
Yeah, and we work with a lot of contractors. We work, we rarely see it with contractors. I think we've seen it a little bit maybe with water damage restoration. It tends to be insurance-based products. Personal injury, we see it with those. So, but if you are in one of those industries, then obviously working with an agency that is experienced in also what to look for can kind of help with that. But overall, it's really not anything to be worried about, because Google has mechanisms in place that even if when it does happen, you get your money back.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Makes
another
sense.
thing is if you're working with someone who is actively managing your account, they're going to see that these high ticket keywords or high click cost keywords are not converting. So there are other ways to pick up on miscellaneous types of search to probably convert those leads that your competitors aren't thinking of. So
that makes a lot of sense,
to target
actually.
other types of keywords. So if we see something where there are a ton of clicks, there's a lot of money spent there, but nothing is converting, or the conversion numbers just don't line up, we'll actually just pause that keyword.
Gotcha. So for the majority, you said 95% of the industries, the concept of competitors clicking on your ads, click fraud as they call it, it's a misconception.
Yeah, I would say that happens just as much as people just accidentally clicking on your ads.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Okay. All right.
Happens.
One of the next misconceptions is that pay-per-click is expensive. We have lots of people that come to us, we talk to them about the opportunity of pay-per-click, and they say, oh my gosh, no, it's way too expensive. I don't want to go ahead and do that. Misconception, yes?
Yeah, for the most part. Again, there are certain industries that are outliers, like with anything else.
Sure.
But because your potential return on your investment is going to be faster than with most other types of marketing, I wouldn't be scared of making that investment. And you can start small and work your way up as you start to see things working for you. And once you start getting business in the door, you can put more into it as you go.
Yeah, and I know from my very limited experience with this is whenever we've dealt with a client that's had a bad experience and tells us that no, pay-per-click is really too expensive, it's that they spent a lot of money and really didn't get very much. That's their definition of expensive. And so and there's really probably a couple of factors that can attribute to that. Number one, the campaign could have been built bad previously, but also the landing page, right? You could actually have an okay campaign that's performing right, it's getting in front of the right eyeballs, it's getting you a good amount of leads, but then they're not converting on the landing page. So all of that certainly has to be in place, but ultimately speaking, a lot of times with pay-per-click, the ROI actually makes sense, and so therefore saying that's an expensive product is a misconception.
Yeah,
okay.
I would say what normally happens is either people haven't run it in the past, so they really have no expectation going into it, or they're used to running things with a much lower cost per click, like say Facebook ads, which aren't, the targeting is completely different. And with the search intent with Google ads, your return on your investment, it is more of an investment in most cases than what you would spend on Facebook ads, but the return has much more potential because someone is actively searching for what you are offering.
And a lot of times people also don't think about that there's an intrinsic value to that potential customer that you're going to have, meaning the lifetime value of that customer. And if you have any kind of a repeat business, then now that value is going even higher. So okay, that actually makes perfect sense. Another misconception that we've dealt with, at least on the sales side when we're talking to folks, is that there can be bidding wars, and that people try to outbid your ads to try and rank higher. Talk a little bit about that and why that is a misconception.
Yeah. So there are different ways that you can bid on keywords in your campaigns, and some people are probably still doing this and manually bidding on each individual keyword in your account. Most people managing ads are not doing that anymore. So Google's, in a sense, somewhat removing that bidding war scenario from that situation. They're going to try to put you in front of people for search terms that they think you're going to convert well on. So you may not be showing up all the time with the same people in the SERP because you're going after different variations of keywords and things like that. You shouldn't be focused on one specific keyword ever in your campaign. That's where you get into those issues.
I got you. So bidding wars can really only happen when a human is doing that, because Google's AI isn't gonna try and accomplish that, because Google's AI is actually looking to provide you with the hopefully lowest cost per conversion, and if you then have somebody who advocates for that and helps just fine-tune that a little bit, then you're really not going to have that scenario of a bidding war, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the bid strategy is not going to allow that anymore.
Yeah, so the way that I like to look at it is, especially when you're using these automated bidding strategies, which I highly recommend, it's in Google's interest, because you told them to do this, to give you the most at-bats for the money that you allocated in that day to convert the most out of it. So they're probably not going to use your entire daily budget on one keyword.
Gotcha.
So in most cases, if there's a really, really expensive keyword and it seems right, like, nail on the head, it seems like the number one keyword that you would want to go after, and that makes sense to you, but the cost is $100 a click. In most cases, I'm going to say, don't bother.
Don't bother with it. Right. Okay.
There are other ways that people are searching for you.
I gotcha.
You can get creative.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So we have one more misconception, which is actually one of my favorite ones when it comes to this product, as well as a lot of other digital marketing products. Before we get into that one, though, the the concept of the landing page and really having a solid landing page in place is obviously very important. And oftentimes it's not that you have this crazy big and long landing page. It's really just figuring out what is it exactly that we want that visitor to do, and taking them by the hand and actually getting them to do that as quickly as possible, right? Whether that is pick up the phone and call somebody, make the phone ring, fill out a contact form, download something, so on and so forth. So leading into that, one misconception that we've really seen out there time and time again actually relates to this concept of sales funnels, and how this sales funnel is like this greatest thing since sliced bread. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit, and why it really is a misconception that they're so great?
Yeah, so there's two things at play here. One, these sales funnels, that there are companies that specialize in this, and they'll sell you this beautiful...
You know, I think that's somebody calling on our landing page right now. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to shut that off. All right, perfect. See, no sales funnels with us, just landing pages. Sorry, go ahead.
It's actually in your best interest to use your actual website for your ads, because you're giving people a feel of your entire business. You want those extra pages there, because the feel of a separate landing page or a sales funnel, it just seems kind of like a scam, and it doesn't work as well as people think that it does. The ideas behind it are that you want someone to land on that page and convert. You want them to do something. You can do that on the page on your website that is relevant for whatever service or product that you're offering, and still provide them a good view of how your entire business is, and get a feel for that, instead of you just trying to get their business and that's all they really care about.
So sales funnels, they really don't work, and for us, it's almost like the concept of, hey, keep it simple. Right? If you go to very quickly, try to capture that lead, try to get that visitor to do what it is that you want them to do, and call it a day. Move on. You don't, it's like speed dating in a way. It's like, you're not going to sit there, talk for hours and, try to convince them that, you're a perfect person. You want to kind of go through as many as you can as quickly as possible, to then be able to say, okay, that's a good lead, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, there's also, you're building a relationship with that person coming to your website, whereas if they come to your website and remember your brand but didn't necessarily convert when they came there to begin with, which we see a lot, and we can actually track this data through different attribution models, but we can see how long it took for that conversion to happen. So giving someone the tools to easily come back to your website, maybe they just remembered your brand name and looked up your website. If you sent them to a separate landing page or to a sales funnel or something like that, they're not going to come back to that and convert off of that. They're going to go try and find your business somewhere else.
Gotcha.
And if your business doesn't have an actual website or any other web presence, they're probably going to go to another
someone
solution
else, so it could potentially even create confusion. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. So sales funnels are really not a good thing. Keep it simple. Run a solid, clean pay-per-click campaign. Have a nice landing page, and get individuals to convert through that. Okay, perfect. Great. Well, we hope you enjoyed that. And if you have any questions about anything that is happening with your campaign, we're certainly here to go ahead and help you out. If you have a sales funnel, you may want to consider getting rid of it and just having a really nice landing page.